Just coming in for a landing in your body. We're going to do a more sort of chill mobility, good stuff for the fascia, releasing the nervous system. What does that even mean? Calming down, coming into your body to match the weather, right? We had the big thunderstorm last night and rain. We haven't had much rain here for a while. So going to hydrate the inner body by getting down on the floor. So we're going to actually start down on the floor. On our backs, coming in for a landing. On the planet. Oh, I have a lot of weird little things going on in my body right now. So in the interest of letting go of anything we need to let go of just letting our body and system reboot in a very healthy way, we're going to have a slower, more somatic, like experiential class as opposed to a do this, do that, like this exercise class. So take everything as you want to and listen to your own body. But let's just start with just a slow breath. Normally we're standing and we lift our arms up and lower them down, but let's do it laying down. So you're going to inhale, lengthen everything away from center, open up. Oh, a big stretch. And then exhale, just come in a little bit. So it's going to be this growing and shrinking with the breath. And it could be growing and shrinking in any way. Like it could be big whole body out to your arms and legs, core distal growing and shrinking, or it could be smaller and more subtle in your torso. But playing with this idea of getting bigger on the inhale, stretching out, and smaller on the exhale, coming into yourself. So it could be part of you stretching and then coming in, or another part. But just feel what it's like to reach out into space, reach out into your kinesphere, your realm of movement on the inhale. And then the exhale, let yourself really land in the planet, coming down to earth. So it could even just be inhaling and then exhaling down into the ground. Inhaling, feel the rise of the breath lifting you away from the earth, and then exhaling, nestling back down into the gravitational pull. So just playing with that for a minute, letting yourself stretch out. You can also roll around and come back in as you're doing this. Stretch away from center, bring it back into center. Like those, I can't remember what they're called, but the chiropractor always has one, those little balls that expand out and come back in. Imagine your body is one of those balls, opening up, coming back in, stretching it out. A little stretch and roll at the same time, bringing it in, stretch it out, bring it in, and two more like that. Stretching, opening, and bringing it in, inviting your body into some freedom, letting it do what it wants to do, and come back in. So most of this class will be movement based, movement and breath, but without like it has to look like this, without sort of objectifying our body, but coming into the experience of being in our body. So we'll start with some rolling, just letting your body relax into the floor as much as possible, rolling from side to side, letting your body melt into the floor. Head, neck, and shoulders really relaxed. Face muscles relaxed, jaw relaxed, tongue relaxed, rolling from side to side. Yeah, I've got all sorts of things going on. I'm dealing with like the allergies, but also like a little bit of a crick in my neck, and there's something weird going on with my wrist. So I just want to let my body have a little bit of freedom and without me forcing it to do something in a certain way, but letting it play however it feels good. And I might add music to this and then let us work through that. In fact, I will. And the music I'm going to add is uh, first I have to share sound. The music I'm going to add is da, 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 drum roll, um, Ambient Fields, which is my friend up here, Jeff Gersh. And it's just to give us like a little bit extra Inspiration for movement. Let's use this. Ambient Fields, album number 4, song number 1. So you can imagine that the music is moving you and moving through you. Like we are vibration, like and our experience of the world, like at a deep level is vibration. So let the vibrational experience of being into your system a little bit, keeping it on rolling, but let the music give you more movement choices, right? Instead of like, oh, how do I move? Let the music speak to you. Let it come into your body. So here's that growing and shrinking. Inhaling, open, exhaling, coming back in as I'm as I'm seated, as I'm a little more vertical. And we've played in this class a lot with getting up. So if you're feeling like, oh, I just want to get a little bit more exercisey, you can play with coming away from the ground and coming back down to the ground in any way. So there's rolling, there's rising, descending back into the ground, but giving yourself this chance to sort of play with it. Freedom in your body, freedom in your exploration. So I'm not trying to engage a whole bunch of, I'm not trying to interlay a bunch of exercises. I'm trying to give my body a chance to experience some free flow and some choice as I roll. And one way to do this also is we're not ever necessarily trying to go to our extremes here, but trying to keep it like in this very easy play. And what that means for you might be very different than what that means for me. Yeah, what I would like to have happen from this session is that my nervous system feels the support of this gentle movement and isn't forced into anything. And same with my fascia, that I'm getting this rolling and this non sort of linear movement to let my body adjust as it needs to. So I'm going to switch the rolling and kind of coming up into a little bit more spiraling. And you can stick with what you're doing, or you can change it to what I'm doing. Like you can keep kind of rolling, but just to bring in some of these patterns, but it can be spiraling in any way, right? It doesn't have to be your biggest spiral. But finding different ways of moving so you're sort of releasing any armoring or holding patterns that you have by just allowing your body a little more freedom in exploration. How do we learn new ways of being? By trying new things, right? So give yourself freedom to try new ways of doing your movement. Other ways. Is there a different way to do it? Is there something playful and curious to work with? Cats and dogs aren't going to yoga class or Pilates, right? They play. How do they figure out how to move? But imagine that you're like a body of water, and you could imagine that you're in a body of water, so you have this complete fluid support internally and with your imagination externally. So another pattern we're going to talk about, which I have talked a little bit about, is core distal, center to edge. So that growing and shrinking, you can imagine coming from your center, the middle of your body, wherever that is, and reaching out. And don't get too stuck on your center because it's just a concept. There's no actual place that we can always say is your center. as we move, the center would be shifting if there were a center. So we're coming in, we could say towards like if we were a star, coming into the middle of the star and radiating out. So finding that radiating away from center, we call it in movement analysis navel radiation, radiating away from your belly. Navel radiation and coming back in towards your belly. You could imagine that you're a starfish opening up and then coming back in. Opening up and coming back in. And you can try this in different relationships to gravity. So it doesn't have to be all just laying on the floor. You can also come up to seated or standing, or even on all fours or on your stomach. Just finding ways of going out and coming in. Radiating away and bringing it in. And it might be that you like have some shapes that you really like to get into. Go for your shapes, like maybe downward dog or plank or something like that, and then see how can you move them and give them more possibility or more freedom, right? So if I'm in my dog, I can do all sorts of things here, right? Shifting my weight around, moving the dog around. So depending on what you need in your body, let yourself play with that. Yeah, imagining that you've landed in your body for the first time and you're not sure what it can do. So giving yourself this chance to explore movement in a very non-linear manner. And I want to say like in a non-impositional manner. We're not giving ourselves the exercise to do exactly like this so that we look like that. We're giving ourselves the experience to feel what it feels like to be in here, which is the somatic way, which is the way of, oh, I'm having the experience of being in my body and I'm listening to the intelligence that my body has, right? Our bodies are tremendously, terrifically intelligent, and they are in direct communication with all the other bodies and the air and the earth and the water, right? Because they're feeling it. We've learned to kind of cut ourselves off from so much information by being really like reductionist or not being able to access sort of levels and waves of reality because we don't trust that they're real. So let yourself let go of that idea and just be in this body of water, experiencing the internal freedom of letting go of your own rigidity just for a little while, letting as much as you can. So with this core distal pattern, reaching away from center, finding the sort of arms and legs radiating out and coming back in, or just energetically thinking of that pattern. There are different ways we can move with that, right? We can get these spirals. Tissue loves to spiral. Fascia loves the spiral. Hydration loves the spiral. So seeing if we can find different types of spirals as we go out and come in, or as we move in space. Also, ripples, waves, and undulations. So we could think of this as really recuperative movement, recuperating from like linear thinking or armored, grippy being, too much planning. We come into this really fluid state to open up to what else is possible. Are there other ways of being? And the answer is definitely yes. There's always a lot of other possibilities, or there are always other ways of being. So really not forcing your body into anything, but allowing your body to speak and listening. And we're not talking like this the sort of surface layer of I want to eat that Dorito body listening. We're talking about the really deep cellular wisdom, the really deep embodied wisdom that's in there. Waking up to the exploration of being. What does it feel like? And seeing if you can move in some kind of relationship with your breath. That's why the growing and shrinking is really nice, to find that expanding on the inhale, coming back to yourself on the exhale. Waking up your fingers and toes, right? This core distal relationship goes out well beyond your body. We can imagine that our energy field is way bigger than us. So we're radiating out into that. We're calling in the universe. We're expanding out into the universe. What if you just slow down and let go a little bit? Let go and let flow. Just unlocking any kind of patterning that you have in there that's rigidly holding it all together. Let that go. No need to spend that energy, which is restricting flow, restricting access to health, really, because the flow is vitality, connecting into this spacious wisdom body. Right? When we start to release little blockages, then we have more access to energy. We have more flow. We have more presence. We're not fighting against something as much. So just finding some freedom in your movement. And it can be in any relationship to gravity. As we shift our relationship to gravity, the fluids in our body respond, the fascia responds, our nervous system responds. Giving yourself freedom to enjoy being in a body, not to try and fix it or make it into something different, or, look like you're 12 instead of 55, but to give yourself freedom to be there in what is happening now. Just this movement, this sound and vibration. Give yourself permission to be expansive, to take up space, to let things move through you. So let's come into this head-tail pattern. We did our core distal, we did some breathing, we did some rolling, we did some movement. So the head-tail pattern is just bringing your awareness from the crown of your head out through your big swishy tail, whatever kind of imaginary tail you have, but allowing your sacrum, your spine, your nervous system from your brain routed down through your spine out into your arms, legs, and organs, allowing that to have some freedom too, right? Brain through the spinal cord, awakening the head tail connection. And just feeling what it is to move that without doing it in this like repetitive, exercisey manner, but doing it in an exploration where there isn't a right and a wrong way, but you're listening in to what feels good, what's curious, what's interesting. So there's this the yoga nidra, non-sleep deep rest, where people are, letting their bodies really um, unwind and come into that resting, healing, nourishing, down-regulated state. Think of this as kind of like a moving yoga nidra, where we're allowing it to move, but not forcing it in, not pushing it, but we're opening up any kind of little blockages that we have against our own life force, right? Letting it free up a little bit. You learn how to hold your body in a certain way to cope with being in the environment you are in. And so maybe there's some stuff that you can let go of, or maybe there's some stuff that doesn't serve you now. And when we move, we allow access to this much broader spectrum of possibility. So thinking of this as really allowing your system to downregulate, to soften, to be very alive, but in this expansive, healing manner. Maybe it's not healing, but it is for me. It always is for me. Bringing it into this more uh, nourishing, releasey place. Yeah, so also head tail is great to explore from other relationships to gravity, quadruped, or even side lying, seated, standing. So feel free to keep coming in, exploring that head tail connection in different relationships to gravity. And it doesn't mean that as we're exploring head tail, everything else has to shut down. You can still play with anything else that is interesting to play with. Giving your system the opportunity to open up and to be spacious, your body mind system. And letting the music and the vibration of the sound influence how you move. Let it speak to you. We've had lifetimes of inhibiting movement. So now just start to soften that inhibition. It doesn't have to be so clamped down. We can have some free flow. We can have some of this vitality in our body. Coming into sensation and feeling what it feels like with curiosity. What does it feel like? Hmm. And you don't need to come in and name the feeling. You just want to come in and feel the feeling. Feel the sensation. Feel the movement. Yeah, I haven't been teaching any somatic inquiry online. Actually, I'm teaching just a group class, a movement for meditators inquiry class, and I miss it. It's nice to move with people in this way online. So here we have kind of a mixture between a little bit more of a whole body exercisey class and this somatic inquiry class. Giving your body the chance to uh, adjust in any way it needs to. I'm going to come to standing. You don't need to stand. You can stay laying down. Follow your own interests, your own exploration. Just inviting free flow into your body, into your system. What are those flows? There's the flow of breath. There's the oxygen moving through your body. There's the flow of energy. Your nervous system is full of flows of information. There's the fluid flow, multiple fluid flows in your body. The flow of thought. There's the flow of time, right? Can we be just present in this moment, in this moving moment through time? Spacious and open. Just going to bring that music down to a close, and I'm going to end the live stream there. So if you made it through, take some time to rest, drink some water, go to the bathroom.